The day my wife returned from her business trip, I secretly brought our child to the airport to pick her up, wanting to give her a surprise. As she exited the arrival gate, my wife walked out laughing and talking with a man. When it was time to part, the man suddenly put his arms around my wife's waist. I expected her to be angry, but she didn't even give him a warning glance. Instead, she said bashfully, "You can't do this at the company." I picked up the child and left the airport without looking back. My wife returned home and saw me in the kitchen. A hint of guilt flickered across her face. "David, you've had it tough at home these past few days. Let's eat." In our 6 years of marriage, it was rare to hear my wife say something like that. She always insisted that she was the hardest working, strongest, and greatest person in the world. Thinking about what I saw at the airport, it reminded me of the phone call I had with her the night before last. She sounded breathless and told me she was running, then hung up quickly. It seemed she had lied to me. My heart felt heavy, like a giant stone was pressing down on it. "I'm not hungry. You two eat." I went back to the room, but soon my wife sat beside me. She asked with displeasure, "David, we haven't seen each other for a week, and the moment we meet, you're giving me the cold shoulder?" I laughed and retorted, "Ms. Liu, you must be joking. I'm just a stay-at-home dad. How dare I give you the cold shoulder?" She heard the sarcastic tone in my voice and explained that she was too busy with her business trip to call or video chat. To appease me, she took out a t-shirt she'd bought for me and asked me to try it on. I found some time to buy matching family outfits for the three of us. "You weren't happy before because I didn't wear matching couple outfits with you, right? Are you satisfied now? Try it on and see if it fits." I knew she was deliberately bringing this up, avoiding the main issue. So I grabbed the t-shirt and threw it away. This action made her lose her last shred of patience. "David, are you going to keep this up? Is it just because I took Mark on the business trip? He's my former student and my employee. He wants to gain some work experience from me. He's ambitious in his career, what's wrong with that?" I countered, "It's not just work experience your former student wants to gain from you, is it?" "What do you mean?" "David, you have a dirty mind, so you see everyone as dirty. People really shouldn't be idle for too long. I'm working my tail off outside. What for? Isn't it for this family? What else can you do besides being mindlessly jealous? If you had just been a little more capable, would I, a woman, have to be out there showing my face? Do you know what other people are saying about us? They say I'm keeping a kept man. You're out of sight, out of mind, but I'm constantly embarrassed by you." For 3 years, I had lived under this immense pressure. Every time we argued, she would repeat the same lines. I was useless, living off her, a kept man. In the past, I would always apologize first. I understood her temper. Since I was with her, I should be more tolerant. But not this time. This time, it wasn't about temper, but about my dignity, about betrayal. I could no longer tolerate the sordid pure relationship between her and her former student. I looked at her calmly. "Since that's the case, I think you should stop embarrassing yourself. Let's get a divorce." Speaking of my marriage to Sarah, it was purely by accident. A few years ago, I was selling masks on my social media. Sarah was still not the boss back then. When she saw it, she asked me to deliver them to her place. That day, just as I handed the masks to her, the 911 took several suspected cases away from her neighborhood. She was forced to take me in. Over time, feelings grew, and we naturally got together. But my nightmare was just beginning. Sarah had been divorced once because her ex-husband cheated, so she was very strict with me after we got married. I couldn't even like or comment on posts by women on social media. Once, I liked a female colleague's social media post for her, and she yelled at me all night. At first, I didn't pay much attention. I knew she was hurt by her ex-husband and had become so wary. Plus, I hadn't dated much and naively thought that men should always yield to women. Later, she complained that my parents didn't take good care of the child, thinking they had different parenting styles and were spoiling the child. She told me to quit my job and become a full-time dad. When we got married, I promised I would meet all her demands, so I agreed. It was around this time that her former student, Mark, returned overseas. At the time, my wife openly took me out to dinner with him. At the table, they talked about their college days, how Sarah had taken care of him, and how he had looked up to Sarah. Mark even said that if Sarah hadn't been married, he would definitely have pursued her upon returning. Afterward, I seriously told my wife that what Mark said was too much, wasn't it? But my wife retorted, "Was he excessive, or are you overly sensitive? Is a simple joke something to make a big deal out of? We'll be seeing each other regularly from now on, so stop saying such thoughtless things." Seeing each other regularly? What do you mean? I've already decided to hire Mark at the company. You're leaving to take care of the child, and the company is short on staff right now, so Mark's return is perfect. He can fill the gap you're leaving. Over the next period, my wife and her former student often went spending time together. She even forgot our wedding anniversary and didn't come home until the next morning. Smelling alcohol on her, I asked her where she had been. Looking at the food on the table, she explained, Mark is back overseas, right? His girlfriend overseas broke up with him, and I was comforting him, so I had some NKS with him. What day was yesterday? You prepared so much good food? You forgot our wedding anniversary just to comfort him? My wife was stunned for a moment, but then said with a sense of relief, it's a good thing I forgot. Otherwise, Mark being broken up right on our wedding anniversary would have made him even more miserable. I was furious at the time and was about to call Mark and chew him out, but my wife stopped me. She also called me small-minded and an insecure man. I said, Sarah, you're becoming more and more like your ex-husband. David, what do you mean by bringing up my ex-husband? You've looked down on me for being divorced from the start, haven't you? I know you resent me. I won't be a burden to you. I can divorce you. Faced with her guilt-tripping, I could only reassure her that I didn't mean that. Then I apologized to her, silently endured, and kept tolerating until this business trip she took with Mark. I was truly fed up with this kind of life. Anyone else who wants this life can have it. I was only 28, and I already had gray hair. But the next morning, Sarah knocked on my door. To my surprise, she shed her usual high-and mighty female executive demeanor and said to me, Husband, I was wrong yesterday. Every time we argued before, she would be the one to bring up divorce, and then I would apologize. Each time this happened, she would believe that I was truly in the wrong. But after a night of internal struggle, I knew what I wanted now. No, Ms. Liu, you're fine, it's me who's wrong. Honestly, we shouldn't have been together from the start. While we're still young, let's just get the divorce over with and stop wasting each other's time. Hearing my words, my wife panicked. She grabbed my hand and demanded, David, I've already apologized to you, what more do you want? That was her, even an apology had to be delivered from a position of superiority. Besides, just because she apologized, did I have to accept it? I said, I want a divorce. She held my hand tightly, her emotions agitated. David, if we divorce, what about the child? I asked her in return, when Mark was holding you, did you think about the child? Hearing my words, Sarah's expression changed dramatically, her facial muscles twitching irregularly. She finally realized why I was asking for a divorce. David, you went to the airport yesterday? Yes, I went, originally wanting to bring the child and give you a surprise. I didn't expect it to turn into a shock for me instead. You two look quite compatible. If I were to continue delaying this, it would be me being unreasonable. The calmer I was, the more frightened Sarah seemed. Her voice trembling, she explained, David, listen to me, Mark has been overseas for several years, his thinking might be a bit westernized. A hug really doesn't mean anything to him. How about this, the next time he does something like that, I'll stop him. No need. Whether you two are sleeping together or not, it has nothing to do with me anymore. Are you free today? Let's go to the court to schedule it. Each sentence I spoke reinforced my intention to divorce her, and she also realized my determination. She frantically walked towards the door, saying to me, David, you're just jealous right now. Once you calm down, you won't want to divorce me. I just got back from my business trip. I have a ton of things to deal with at the company. I don't have time to go to the court with you. I knew she was deliberately stalling. She thought that if she delayed until I cooled off and thought things through, everything would go back to normal. She didn't understand that from the moment I saw her not resisting Mark's hug, my heart had already died. First, I took the child to my parents' place and asked them to look after him for a few days. My parents immediately saw that something was wrong between Sarah and me and anxiously asked questions. I didn't hide anything and explained that I was preparing to divorce Sarah. My parents initially tried to persuade me, but they also knew how strong-willed and domineering my wife was. Seeing my resolve, they stopped trying to talk me out of it. Considering that Sarah had earned everything we ate and used at home for the past few years, I was prepared to walk away with nothing. My next step was to find a job. Fortunately, I graduated from a good university and had only been idle at home for a year, so it only took me one day from finding a job to starting it. In the evening, I went home to pack my suitcases. I was carrying 3 suitcases, ready to leave, when I happened to run into my wife getting off the elevator. And beside her was Mark. David, are you being too childish? It was just an argument. Do you have to leave home? Mark is right here. I'll let him explain to you. Sarah quickly shot a look at Mark, and Mark spoke. David, you misunderstood. Hugs and kisses are a form of etiquette overseas. You haven't been abroad, you wouldn't understand. You don't know how much Sarah cares about you. She was distracted all day at the company today. If I wanted something with Sarah, it would have happened a long time ago. It wouldn't be your turn. Sarah has treated me like a younger brother these past few years. We genuinely have a very close relationship, that's why I hugged her. After Mark finished explaining, Sarah looked at me with a smug expression. David, both of us involved are here. Now you should believe it, right? I was quite surprised. I didn't know if Sarah was genuinely foolish or just pretending. Did she really foolishly believe that Mark was here to help us reconcile? I thought my heart had become calm and indifferent, but faced with Mark's provocation, I couldn't help but want to hit him. But I had to consider reality. My child had already lost his mother. I couldn't let him lose his father too. I suppressed my anger, said nothing, and walked past the two of them. But then Mark suddenly grabbed my arm from behind. If it weren't for his appearance, I don't think my family would have fallen apart. So I violently shook his hand off. He fell to the ground as if I had punched him hard. Sarah quickly helped him up and loudly demanded, David, are you crazy? You actually hit Mark. Isn't this a good deed gone unappreciated? Apologize to him immediately. Before I could speak, Mark grabbed Sarah's hand in turn and said, Sarah, don't blame David, he's just angry. It's all my fault. If I hadn't hugged you then, none of this would have happened. Mark, don't say that. I'm already grateful that you came to explain for me. Besides, you can't blame him either. If he hadn't gone to the airport with the child when he had nothing better to do, he wouldn't have seen it, and such a big fuss wouldn't have happened. I scoffed and asked, I see. So, this has become my fault instead, isn't it? We've had a clear division of labor. I handle the outside, you handle the inside. You just needed to take care of your part at home. What kind of surprise were you trying to give me? Don't you think that's childish? Alright, David, let's not talk about that anymore. Apologize to him first. I didn't say anything. Mark spoke to me again. David, there's no need for an apology. You've already hit me, you should have vented your anger by now, right? Stop making a fuss with Sarah, hurry up and come home. Working in tandem, they silently turned me from the plaintiff into the defendant. For the first time, I felt physically and mentally disgusted by someone. I didn't want to explain, nor did I want to look at them anymore. Carrying my suitcases, I resolutely left Sarah's place. David, hitting Mark in front of me today made me lose a lot of face. We were both wrong in this matter. Apologize to Mark, and we'll let this go. I've already given you an out. Whether you take it is up to you. After leaving Sarah's place, she sent me several text messages in a row. I was glad she didn't soften her tone. The more rigid her attitude, the clearer my mind became. Otherwise, I was genuinely worried that when the child cried for his mother at night, I might change my mind. Later, I thought about it. Mark's appearance might not have been a bad thing for me after all, because only after experiencing the pain could I be reborn. I didn't contact Sarah again, but she must have known that I would take the child back to my parents' place. A few days later, she came to my parents' place to find me. From complaining to my parents to threatening me. Mom and Dad, you know your family's financial situation. If David wants to buy a house and a car in this city on his own, he'll need to struggle for at least 30 years. So you should persuade him to come back with me. Sarah, this is between us. Don't involve my parents. They're not just your parents, they're also my in-laws. Our matter should naturally involve them. How about this, if you don't come back with me, I'll just live here. Sarah said to me confidently. Did she think this would leave me helpless? She came to my parents to persuade me, and I could likewise go to her parents to persuade her. Because when we got married, her parents looked down on me and were convinced I was a living offer-kept man. Especially since I had been idle at home for over a year, they looked down on me even more. They even secretly encouraged Sarah to divorce me. I had unintentionally overheard their conversations. So when I called them and told them that Sarah was refusing to leave my parents' place and begging me not to divorce her, they were instantly furious. Sarah's father yelled on the phone, David, if it weren't for my daughter, could you have the life you have now? You have no capability and no capital. Only my daughter is foolish enough to have been interested in you. My daughter is out there working and supporting the family, and you, a lazy-kept man, dare to bring up divorce with my daughter? Remember this. My daughter is the one dumping you. Give the phone to Sarah. Sarah's parents were like someone whose tail had been stepped on. They then gave Sarah a stern lecture, and she could only reluctantly leave my parents' place. After she left, my parents also tried to persuade me, saying that in the past, Sarah had never backed down during our arguments. This time, she must truly realize she was wrong and wanted me to give her another chance for the sake of the child. To be honest, I wavered for a moment. I genuinely thought that after hearing me propose divorce, my wife would calmly accept it, and then no one would interfere with her and Mark's relationship anymore. So, a few days later, under the pretense of going back to get some things, I wanted to see how she was doing. After all, we had lived together for 5 years. In that time of years spent together, it was impossible that there were no happy memories at all. Returning to the house where I had lived for 5 years, I felt a wave of emotions. I sat on the sofa, contemplating for a long time whether I should wait for her to come home and have a proper talk with her. But quickly, I abandoned this naive idea. In the bathroom, I saw 2 toothbrushes. There is no sorrow greater than a dead heart. Death itself is secondary. Seeing the 2 toothbrushes in the bathroom shattered my last illusion. Over the next few days, I focused on work. During this time, Sarah contacted me many times, but I ignored all of them. But the circle was small, and soon the news that I was working at a new company reached Sarah's ears. That day, as I was proofreading a document, a colleague told me there was a beautiful woman looking for me at the entrance. As expected, it was my wife. After so many days of the silent treatment, I thought she had come to terms with it and agreed to the divorce. Unexpectedly, the moment we met, she threw herself into my arms. Her body was still soft, but her face was pale, and the dark circles under her eyes were particularly noticeable. But I no longer believed she hadn't slept well because of me. Those 2 toothbrushes explained everything. Husband, please stop making a fuss, okay? Come back home with me. These past few days without you, I can't eat or sleep. I always forget to pick up packages. I don't even know how to pay the utility bills anymore. I miss you. I miss our son. As long as you 2 come back, we can discuss anything else. Sarah was teary-eyed, but faced with her display of vulnerability, my only response was a cold laugh. Sarah, stop with the crocodile tears. You're living with Mark now. You think I don't know? How can you live with your former student while still high-sounding begging me not to divorce you? She asked in surprise. Living together? When did I start living with him? It's just that I've been in a bad mood these past few days, and he was worried something might happen to me, so he stayed at our place to keep me company. He talked with me, and I made him something to eat. That's all there is to it. You really shouldn't overthink it. Alright? I don't want to hear your story. Ms. Liu, you're the boss after all. Don't go making yourself look pathetic like this, letting people laugh at you. Divorcing you is a decision I've thought through carefully. If you're only here to persuade me not to divorce, then please leave. David, no matter what you say, I will absolutely not divorce you. Because I love you, my life can't be without you. Sarah's words made my heart tremble for a moment. Before, I wanted to hear you say those 3 words. You always said I was childish and lectured me that love isn't said, it's done. So, I won't listen to what you say. I'll only watch what you do. My love for you has been completely consumed by your endless lack of boundaries. Not a single bit is left. And your love for me, rather than love, is more like being used to being taken care of by me. You could solve this problem simply by hiring a nanny. Alright, I have to work. Please leave now. As we talked, more and more people gathered around. Among them, some recognized Sarah. She didn't like being pointed at and whispered about by these people, so she had to leave the company first. I was also called into the boss Emily's office. After hearing what happened, she looked at me with sympathy. Although you shouldn't resolve your family matters at the company, you can't be blamed for this. Alright, you can go now. Just be careful next time. These past few years, I had been emotionally manipulated by Sarah and lived a very suppressed life. Suddenly encountering a woman who was so understanding made me feel an urge to cry. Outside, there was a fierce storm, but my heart was calm as still water. I thought that after hearing my decisive words, Sarah wouldn't bother me anymore. It wasn't until I finished work that I found out she was still waiting for me outside. Seeing me come out, she ignored the pouring rain and ran straight to me. She said she would give me a ride home. She let the rain soak her, but I wasn't swayed by this tactic. No need, I'll take the bus home. Then I walked past her, opened my umbrella, and caught the bus. She chased after the bus like crazy, driving behind it. But during rush hour, and with the rain making the roads slippery, she got into a car accident. Eventually, following notification from the police, I, along with her parents, were called to the traffic police department. Mark was there with her parents. As soon as Sarah's father saw me, he demanded to know what happened and why his daughter was in a car accident. I calmly said, "You should ask your daughter why she got into a car accident. We've been separated for a long time. Or, you can ask him. They're living together now." Hearing my words, Mark's eyes narrowed slightly. He clearly didn't expect that I already knew about this. "Uncle and Auntie, don't listen to him. Sarah has been in a bad mood lately because of David. I was worried she might do something reckless, so I went to her place to look after her. I drank a lot with her, and after drinking too much, we slept together, but it was just sleeping, nothing happened. Our relationship is not as sordid as he makes it sound." Sarah's father heard this and questioned me. "David, I've been telling my daughter to divorce you for a long time, but she wouldn't listen. I just don't know what's so good about you. You're a grown man, how can you be so small-minded? My daughter has known Mark for several years longer than she's known you. They're like siblings. You doubt even this kind of relationship? You really didn't appreciate my daughter's feelings for you." I countered, "People are like this, easy for you to say. What would you do if your wife was hugging another man outside and not coming home all night?" Hearing my words, he came up and slapped me, but was quickly pulled away. Mark said, "Uncle and Auntie, don't be angry. Getting too angry is bad for your health, and he's not worth it. David, if you have any complaints, you can direct them at me. Why are you making things difficult for Sarah? If anything happens to Sarah, you should take full responsibility. Not only will her parents not let you off the hook, neither will I." He grabbed my collar, acting very agitated. When Sarah's father hit me just now, I didn't retaliate out of respect for him as my elder. But I couldn't tolerate Mark. I shoved him away forcefully and then swung my fist at his face. "You dare to hit me? I'll fight you." He lunged at me, and we quickly got into a scuffle. Sarah was suspected of dangerous driving and couldn't get out for a while. I was also taken to the police station because I initiated the fight, and he was more seriously injured. This matter could be big or small. The police suggested a private settlement, as the other party wasn't seriously injured. But there was no way I would seek Mark's forgiveness, so I refused a private settlement. I thought I would spend the next few months in the detention center, but the next morning, I was picked up. What I didn't expect was that the person who came to get me out was the boss, Emily. She gave Mark 20,000 yuan and had him sign a letter of understanding. I asked her, confused, why she did this. She said, firstly, she heard about my situation with Sarah and felt sorry for me. Secondly, she believed that although I wasn't yet proficient in the business, my work attitude was meticulous, and I would definitely be an excellent employee in the future. I felt a kindness from her I had never experienced before. I promised her that I would repay her through my work in the future. She smiled sweetly and said, "That's enough." A week later, Sarah's parents settled the compensation issues, and Sarah was cleared. After she got out, she heard that the boss had given Mark 20,000 yuan to get me out and immediately came to the company. She said the nastiest things she could think of. "David, no wonder you were so insistent on divorcing me. Turns out you didn't find living off her appealing anymore. The reason I was interested in you in the first place was because you were honest. You promised me back then that you would keep a proper distance from all other women and wouldn't do anything to betray me. I never thought you'd be the same as my ex-husband, always wanting more. And you, Emily, you actually seduced a married man. You shameless homewrecker." Emily had the security guards remove Sarah. I initially thought she would dismiss me too, but she found me and gave me a few days off, telling me to sort out my personal matters before returning to work. After what happened these past few days, I clearly realized that Sarah was like a tumor in my life. If I didn't cut her out, the toxins would spread throughout my body. That day, I arranged to meet her to have a proper talk. I took the divorce agreement and suggested meeting at a coffee shop, but she insisted on playing the emotional card and wanted me to talk to her at home. I didn't want to argue about this and waste time. So, after many days, I returned here, and a strange sadness welled up in my heart. Entering the door, the aroma of food wafted towards me. I saw that Sarah had prepared a table full of delicious dishes. She was wearing the matching family outfits she had bought for the three of us before, and she walked over and affectionately took my arm. "Husband, you're home. Do you think this outfit looks good on me?" She had a playful look on her face, as if nothing had happened. I calmly pulled my arm out of her grasp and said, "It looks good, but I didn't come here to talk about this today. I know, I shouldn't have made a scene at the company that day. Honestly, you're not that kind of person. I was just impulsive and said a lot of angry things. But that's just how much I love you, can't you see that? I smiled and shook my head. I only see your possessiveness, not your love. Possessiveness is also a manifestation of love. Is it? Then why, when I asked you to keep your distance from Mark back then, did you scold me for being too possessive? Why did you say I wasn't giving you personal space? Why did you say what I felt for you wasn't love, but emotional blackmail in the name of love? My string of questions left my wife speechless. She hadn't expected the bullets she fired that day would hit herself today. She tried to defend herself forcefully, but Mark is like a brother to me. I took care of him like this in college. Our relationship is truly very pure. If you have an issue with him, I can keep my distance from him. Not like before. A pure relationship. As a man myself, I couldn't possibly not understand the meaning behind the way Mark looked at you. I shook my head. If you had said this a year ago, there might have been a possibility of me accepting it. Not now. Why? Can you really bear to see our child lose his mother at such a young age? If I were you, I wouldn't have the nerve to use the child as a shield. Have you ever thought about how our child would feel seeing his mother being hugged by a man who isn't his father? Sarah was a mother after all, and my words undoubtedly pierced her heart. Tears were already welling up in her eyes. I took out the divorce agreement. She seemed to clutch at it like a drowning person grasping a straw. David, if you divorce me, you'll walk away with nothing. You won't take anything with you. I thought it was something significant. Take a closer look. I've been prepared to walk away with nothing from the beginning. If you divorce me, I'll fight you for custody of the child. Then, I'll marry Mark, the person you hate the most, and I'll make the child call him Dad. David, you don't want to make things this ugly, do you? I retorted, you've been married twice already. Are you sure Mark would want you? Of course I'm sure. He said that as long as I divorce you, he'll take care of me. It's because I held on to old feelings that I didn't do that. If we really divorce, do you believe Mark will marry me in a heartbeat? Sarah was full of confidence. At that moment, there was a knock on the door. We both knew it was Mark. So I said to Sarah, since you're so confident, dare you cooperate with me? Sarah hid in the guest room. I went and opened the door. Seeing me, Mark was startled. Sarah? Sarah? Mark called out twice. I explained. She went downstairs to buy some alcohol. Said she wanted to drink a little tonight. Come on in, you're not afraid of me, are you? What do I have to be afraid of? This isn't your place anyway. Mark bumped my shoulder nonchalantly and entered the room. David, are you guys getting this divorce or not? I know you've been making a fuss these past few days because you want to get more assets. I advise you to stop dreaming, because most of your assets are premarital. You're looking quite different. Weren't you acting all weak in front of Sarah? Of course. If I didn't act weak, would she arrange a job for me? If I didn't act weak, would she often give me money? But she's not here now. Who am I supposed to act weak for? For you? But honestly, even after all this time, Sarah still hasn't agreed to sleep with me. So far, I've only ever managed to grope her when she was drunk. Her feelings for you are quite dedicated, aren't they? Dedicated? So, as long as you haven't slept with anyone else, it's considered dedicated? I think they had a twisted understanding of that word. David, your marriage is set in stone. I have a piece of advice for you. I asked him, what advice? I'm living quite comfortably here. I've decided to marry Sarah, but I don't want to become a stepfather at such a young age. So, if you don't want your son to be mistreated by me, take the kid with you. I was furious hearing his words, but I believed Sarah was even more furious. Since she didn't rush out, I could certainly restrain myself. You can't even tolerate Sarah's child. It seems you don't truly love her. Mark was quite cautious. Before speaking, he looked back at the door to make sure it was locked, then he spoke freely. Of course. She's been divorced twice. Is it always the men's problem? But I need to survive in this city. This is the only way I can do it. To be honest, I was expelled overseas for plagiarism when I was writing my thesis. I couldn't make it there, so I came back. After I returned, I contacted Sarah, and I found that she still took care of me like before, treating me like a younger brother. So I wanted to push you out of her life. That's why I deliberately picked your wedding anniversary to invite Sarah out for drinks and stay out all night. But I didn't expect you to tolerate even that for her. Oh, right. At the airport, I actually saw you. I hugged Sarah after I saw you. But I also didn't expect her not to push me away. And the other day, you just shook off my hand. I deliberately fell to the ground to provoke you too. Hearing all this, I couldn't help but applaud. Brilliant. David, I know you must look down on me after hearing this, but it doesn't matter. This is how I survive. I said, I don't look down on you. In fact, I'm quite impressed. But aren't you afraid I'll tell Sarah all this? Of course not. I know Sarah. She won't believe you. She'll only think you're deliberately slandering her brother. The next second, the guest room door was kicked open with a bang. Sarah's face was incredibly pale, and her eyes were red. Seeing her, Mark stood up shakily. Sarah, why are you here? Let me explain, it's not what you heard. I was just trying to provoke David. This time, Sarah wouldn't believe him anymore. Furious, she grabbed the pots and pans from the table and hurled them at Mark. She seemed to be losing control. She kept cursing at Mark. After being drenched in hot stew, Mark fled in a panic. I watched the whole spectacle calmly and said to Sarah, "Now can we sign the divorce agreement?" "Husband, you heard it all. It was all his fault. Didn't he just tell you? He was the one who kept seducing me, but I didn't cheat. Why are you still insisting on divorcing me? When he expressed his feelings for you, you didn't clearly refuse him. Perhaps your body didn't cheat, but your mind clearly enjoyed it. From the moment I saw him hugging you and you didn't resist, our outcome was already determined. Sarah, let go of me, and let go of yourself." "No, no! Husband, I really know I was wrong. I'll cut all ties with Mark. Don't leave me. I'm begging you." Sarah abandoned all her dignity. She knelt directly in front of me and hugged my legs. Her knees scraped against the broken glass, drawing blood. But I felt no pity. I just told her, "It's impossible for us anymore. Stop demeaning yourself. If you insist on divorcing, I'll have to file for divorce through the court." Ignoring her wails and her injured knees, I forcefully pushed her away and left her house forever. I let out a long sigh, feeling that the air today was especially fresh. In the month that followed, Sarah didn't contact me again, and my life finally returned to peace. I had my parents helping me with the child, and I could fully dedicate myself to work. Emily greatly appreciated my work attitude and promoted me to full-time before my probation period was over. The staff were saying that Emily might be interested in me. But this time, I knew my place. After everything with Sarah, I believe that when it comes to finding a wife, a man should look for someone who looks up to you, not someone you look up to. Later, I found out that shortly after that day, Sarah was diagnosed with depression. She hadn't been to work for over half a month, staying at home every day, with severe suicidal tendencies. And so, our divorce dragged on for a full year before it was finally finalized. At first, her parents wanted to fight me for custody of the child, not because they liked the child, but simply because they didn't want me to get my way. But the court considered Sarah's condition and ultimately granted custody of the child to me. One day, I was scrolling through TikTok out of boredom and came across news about Mark. After Sarah fired him, he started making fake IDs/documents. Once, he made a fake ID for a murderer, and the murderer ended up silenced him. This incident was later made into a public service announcement, his last contribution to the world. 3 more years passed, and I became the acting chairman of the company. The chairman, Emily, became a stay-at-home mom, taking care of our child at home. Every evening, she would bring the child, dressed in matching family outfits, to welcome me home at the door. "Husband, I heard Sarah's condition seems to be getting worse. Let's make some time, and I'll go with you to see her." I nodded. The years of heartache were gradually being healed by my wife. I finally believed that saying. You have to believe that in this world, there will always be someone willing to love you in the simplest way, just purely wanting to be good to you, the kind they can't help.